Hey all, this is Devin with Writing Daily, and this is like a late night edition. As you can tell, it's dark. I've got this weird chandelier shadows on my face today. I'm kind of wearing uh, um, sort of like my presentation shirt because I think if you guys joined me yesterday, I was at this event that is about basically introducing people into people who have big podcasts, big audiences. And so that's all well and good. And if it was sort of like a speed dating event, that would be one thing. Then I could kind of custom make presentations to each one of those people about my book and my writing, et cetera, et cetera. But that wasn't the case. So basically, I and many other people were put into a ballroom where you had to make, and this is such a rare thing, where you have to present yourself to a lot of people. There's probably about 200 people there. And you have, and in this particular case, they quite literally set a clock for 2 minutes where you could then go and make your presentation, which, as you might imagine, is crazy nerve-wracking. It's not a little bit nerve-wracking, it's crazy nerve-wracking because people, what can I say? I didn't even do the normal opening today. Can you believe that? So let's back up. This is Devin with Writing Daily. We are a daily show that talks about writing in all of its forms and all of the things that you need to do. If I'm doing something right, please consider the like button. And you can always ask a comment down here. I can see that Veronica, hi Veronica, thank you for joining me. It's the late night edition, as I've already described. And so what I'm talking about today is the pitch that I needed to make in front of 200 people. And the pitch is, it's about a whole variety of things, but basically what you need to do in this specific instance is that I needed to give one of these 50 people that are sort of like, you know, they're fairly well known on the internet, some justifications of why I should be on their show. And the reason why I want to be on their show, and this is not a secret, is that I want to start promoting my book, right? It's as simple as that. Because like while I'm doing this, if you know me and you're watching what I'm doing, big thumbs up. We love that, right? But if I could put myself and the story of my book in front of other people who already have thousands of people following them, then what I'm doing is I'm magnifying my audience as well as getting more human beings behind ultimately what I hope to be. And this should, with any luck, this should be true for all writers, that you want to sell a crazy amount of books. Because if you are selling crazy amounts of books, then what you're going to end up doing is you're going to get future book sales. You're going to get future opportunities. Who knows where it leads? So you have to do this kind of stuff. It's not my strength. It's not something that I love, but it's something that is a requirement of authors now. Like, in other words, there's this one component of being an author where you're going to sit in solitude and writing in coffee shops and all that other stuff. But the other part, which is at least as important, if not more important, is to be able to start driving traffic and creating things that are going to be interesting for other people. As it is said, it is a bestseller, not a best writer winner that gets all the awards. We're looking for bestsellers. We're looking for ways that people sell lots of books. So this is one of them. So today was quite literally a circumstance which I wouldn't normally do. Like if I went to one radio show, I would try to find out what would be the best way to present myself, and I'd present myself that way. But that's not the way this is working. There's a variety of reasons this particular organizer chose to go that direction, and I can appreciate it. But I think what I ultimately needed to do is kind of present myself in a generic way, covering as much bases as possible within a 2-minute time frame. I can't really quite recreate it because I really did go out on an edge to kind of push the envelope of what the audience might bear. And I think the important thing is not necessarily how I did it, but to understand that there's going to be opportunities that will show up to you, you know, when you're promoting your book, that you kind of have to really dive in and grab. Like, you just have to go do it. Like, I promise you, most people don't want to do public speaking, but you need to be prepared to do your literary reading because you don't know when it's going to come up. Like, honestly, today I think was a total win because I probably got on a whole bunch of shows. I'll know more about the final results. Like I'll literally show you the cards where I get, dates to do podcasts, which is totally fun, right? But I want to know that to tomorrow. But what ultimately I decided to do is and this is sort of just some tips that you may want to consider using, is that I wrote initially down some ideas of the things that I wanted to cover because I knew I had this small window of opportunity, right? And I wrote down a whole variety of things. I think they were pretty good. I think they were, fun. Morgana, good to see you. And so then I was thinking of memorizing. And then what happened is that not only am I making these presentations, so are a lot of other people, right? So everybody's kind of getting their 2 minutes in. And so you want to differentiate yourself from the other people, right? You also want to differentiate yourself from the people who are not good or comfortable with this. And that, in part, is you have to be prepared to do the speaking. You have to be prepared to know what you're offering well enough that you can present it in an interesting way. The only way to really do that is to know your own writing. You have to be aware of what your strengths are and perhaps even what your weaknesses are. You want to start going into an idea of being able to present the sound bites. Like my sound bite in this particular case is, because it's so bizarre, is that I do this request for my father by bringing him to Spain, and then I end up losing the ashes, right? That's a memorable little tidbit. I'm not even presenting it that well right now, but the idea is you want to be able to take your writing and be able to boil something down in a very short amount of time, because if you have the right publisher sitting in front of you, if you have the right agent sitting in front of you, it's not going to be the time where you're going to stutter and stammer and feel weird and uncomfortable. So while you're writing, let's say you know for a fact you're going to be writing your story, you're going to want to have prepared your summary of what the story is about and the things that are going to make your reader want to turn the page. Because I guarantee you, the presentation that I made today was in part, it wasn't the only thing, it was one of the things that I led with, that we're talking about, my father's ashes. And I want them to go, well, what happens next? Because that's the thing that will have them talking about it later. It's the thing that may bring, them to me to say, we would love to have you on our show and talking about your book. So, so where did I present today? I was at a place called, this is a question from Veronica. I was at a place called Kona Kai, which is on Shelter Island in San Diego. And it's actually a beautiful place. It's a little bit windy and a little bit chilly. And you are, in fact, stuck inside of this kind of a venty kind of thing. And it's a lot of networking. It's a lot of talking. It's and to be quite honest with you, I'm totally wiped out. And we were gone for about 12 hours today. And so I'm finally back. And then I realized that I need to do the podcast, because that was my commitment to myself, to talk about all the aspects of, obviously, what writing is all about. So that said, I have one more day, which is tomorrow. I'm actually going to try and get to see if I can get somebody to do a live interview with me. There's actually a lot of pretty interesting, talented, smart people. So we'll see how that works out. Wish me luck. And then today I'll probably give you guys some results of how my pitch went. Quite literally, I'll get a card or a ticket or something that will present it. And then I have another question: is how did I find out about it? My wife is actually somebody who's hooked up into it, but I think part of the way is to find these things is that you want to start really developing what are people doing to promote themselves. Quite literally, start typing in, start doing Google searches of self-promotion and see what comes up. Remember we talked about literary readings a couple weeks ago. So you start finding, find your hometown, find your big city or the next biggest city, and you type in literary readings and see what comes up. And then you go to that literary reading and then you sit and talk. And so in this particular case, because I am entrenched enough in sort of the internet marketing universe, most people who don't know this, are having these events all over the world, all over the country, all the time. They tend to be a little bit more pricey to go to. Like, it's not very often that you're going to be able to go to a free one. Like, this was like an investment kind of thing. But I also know a lot of people who have already gone to this event and have done well with it. And I can't remember exactly what the name of this event is, but it's a good event so far. I mean, what the event was promising is that I would have one-on-one time with the people who have these shows that are really popular online, on podcasts, who are doing radio shows and have already a following. So being on one of their shows is a valuable thing. My goal is, no joke, like, I want to be on every single show. Is that a reasonable expectation? No, not really, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm going to go like crazy to make sure that I can do what I can to keep presenting myself and keep putting myself out there. Oh, the note that I got right now is the event is called New Media Summit. And you can type in, matter of fact, you can type in the guy's name is Steve Olsher. And I think he is doing something similar to this in September. But keep in mind, if you're going to go this route, it's going to, one, cost money. Two, it'll cost you, if you don't necessarily live in San Diego, it may cost you airfare. And then you have to be prepared, as I've just shared, like, you have to be prepared to have the confidence to present yourself and kind of work it out, and do the very best you can. It's an imperfect system, but you really want to make sure that you're in a position, by knowing your writing and knowing the work that you're going to be presenting, in a way that's going to be like a turn on. Think in terms of sound bites. And I hate that idea. Hello, Trudy. So just, be kind to yourself. And sometimes, just for now, if you have your book finished, this might be the kind of event to go to. If you have your book finished and you are prepared to do it right now, then this is the kind of event that you may want to invest in. Because if I can get on, let's say, 50 podcasts, and those 50 podcasts each have, let's say, an additional 1,000 people who are really into this podcast, that's 50,000 people that are going to take the host of the podcast opinion as very high. So that means when they are having me on their show, they're actually touting me as something valuable. So keep these kinds of things in mind. It's lots of preparation, but it's not as big as you think. It really is. You finish your book, right? Get an agent or get a publisher. And once that machine starts rolling, that's when you start really promoting yourself as, like, here I am, sort of like as an individual brand or as a writer or what have you. So anyway, and that's correct. I'm going to do a little bit of a shout out for this guy named Steve Olsher, because I think he's a good guy. He is, and Morgana put his name down there. So he helps you prepare. Like, in other words, like, I've made lots of mistakes to do this process, but Steve helps in this podcasting networking kind of thing. There's people who do that. All of it costs money, but it's an investment, and certainly there's different measures of it. Lots you can find out. But part of what I'm doing here now is offering you free stuff. So anyway, I've talked enough tonight. If you like what I said, please consider hitting the like button. Please, join me on devingallaudet.com/dad, which will tell you about 10,000 miles of my dead father's ashes. And I think we are now on, matter of fact, I think this week, this upcoming week, I'm going to start doing giveaways. So if you sign up, you're going to be up for getting free books shipped right to your doorstep. All you have to do is consider signing up. So anyway, that's what I've got for today. I will check in tomorrow. I don't know the time yet, but I'm going to try and do it from the event. And that said, I hope you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.